After reading over the questions for this assignment, there were two questions in particular that stood out to me and really intrigued me. The first was to think about the last interview I had, what went well, maybe what didn't go so well, how effective it was, and what could the interviewer have done to make the interview even more effective. The other question that I really liked was to think about the goals that I've set up for myself in my career, what motivates me to reach these goals, and how might my own personal motivations differ from those of my peers around me. The first question I wanted to talk about was the last interview I had, which actually happened last week. I'm applying for the position of Greek Leadership Village Assistant, which is a position within the ASU community and the Greek community on ASU, and it's very important to me because I want to use it as a foundational stepping stone of leadership to further my leadership within the Greek community and one day run for the president of my chapter. This interview was very effective, and I was able to use presentational listening, which we went over in Module 1 Civil Dialogue, to strengthen my role as a speaker while also accurately and effectively answering questions. I also used strong physical delivery and professional presence from Module 2 in order to be seen as a worthy candidate. And what I mean by physical delivery is I dressed properly for the event, which means I wore a suit, and I also sat up straight while answering questions I was asked, and I made eye contact with the interviewer. My professional presence my looks really was what helped me the most, and I think the interview was effective. However, if there's one thing I would note on that could make this interview even more effective, it would be to have the questions presented to me ahead of time. This could be effective because interviews and speeches can be the cause for a lot of speaking anxiety for a lot of people, and to have the questions ahead of time, or maybe even similar questions, just to prepare a little bit more, could really help a lot of people. And I understand, of course, interviews are supposed to see that you can, think on your feet, of course, but just to be prepared would be really helpful for people who struggle with speech anxiety. Another thing that I wanted to talk about was the second question, which was goals I have for my career and my personal motivations. I find that I'm a very goal-oriented person, and I really want to strive for financial stability so that one day I can have a family and support them and provide for them. I think something that could be really useful here is to master audience analysis. This could be really helpful in my career as a businessman because if I'm able to know my audience, whether it be in an interview or a business meeting, this will be able to set me up for jobs and promotions within the job or even to other jobs above that pay grade, which would just further help me support my family, make more money, which is a really big goal for me. I think my motivations for this are really just being able to provide. I would love to have a family that I can help, and that motivation might differ from my peers because some people want to make money just for themselves, where I want to make money for the people I love. Another thing that I think could help me within my career goals is to gain credibility, which is from Module 3. Credibility can become from amongst my coworkers or even my superiors, which I will gain as a reliable coworker and a dependable coworker. I hope to one day be a higher up within a finance company, specifically wealth management, and I want to be an effective transformational leader, which means that I will have strong communicative traits and people will trust me because of my already given credibility.